he's just like making conversation with me, whatever. And we take the shot, whatever. And we talk probably for like half hour, 45 minutes. And he says, like this gym, like we're alone. Um, we could do whatever you want. And I'm like, what do you, what do you mean, Marcus? Like, what do you, and he's like, what do you think I mean?
Brim low on my fitted, dreams has always been vivid. I'm just trying to go get it, catch me right around and I'm ignorant, I'm just rolling. First, I want to say shout outs to Uncut Underground. He dropped this video 7 months ago. We just didn't see it. So, I'm gonna leave the link to his video in the description because he had a lot of great commentary in his video. It was just long and uncut. And Pearl deleted this video, so it's a good thing he saw it and reacted to it. So yeah, roll the clip.
God, I'm kind of nervous to tell this story because I really don't know how the manosphere is gonna react. But I want to tell you a story that really made me dislike men for like a really, really long time. And really like made me feel like violated, so to speak. This story, everything that happened was like legal technically, but there's just a lot of stuff that was really like messed up in hindsight to me. Okay, I'm kind of nervous. Okay. So anyone that's been like following me for a while knows that I was an athlete and like sports was super, super important to me when I was growing up. So, I was always the type to like put in extra hours at the gym. I was always the type to like work hard. I'm like naturally pretty uncoordinated, but I really like got to where I was athletically just because I worked really, really hard. So, I'm getting nervous again. Um, Anyways, so when I was in high school, my mom hired a trainer, and that trainer, his name was Marcus, and he was in the NFL. And he was like, I don't know, like my dad was gone a lot when I was younger. I'm never gonna be the type to say like my dad wasn't there because he was always there for like the big stuff. He was always there for us. I always knew that he loved us. Um, but there were times when he just like wasn't around a lot because he was running like a big software company. um so at that time, like I really looked at this trainer, Marcus, as like a father figure. Like I saw him maybe 2 or 3 times a week, so I got like, it was a one-on-one session, so I got like really close with him. And like all the time, and this was when I started maybe when I was 15, like going to see him a couple times a week, and he really helped me like get to the next level of my sport, whatever. um and in hindsight, there were like a couple conversations that stood out to me that were kind of weird. But at the time when you're young, like it's kind of exciting when the adult talks to you about like stuff that's sort of inappropriate to be talking to minors about. Like a conversation that stood out was, I remember like saying something about me being like insecure, when I was a kid. Because when I was in high school, like I got zero attention from boys. Like boys never, never, never talked to me. So, and it's not even like the 80-20 thing. Like guys just never approached me, never talked to me. I went to a small Catholic school. And I said something to him about it, and he said, like, you'll get attention in college. And I forgot what he said, but like, I don't remember the exact words, but he heavily insinuated that, like, basically I had a big butt, so I would get attention in college. And
So that was the first lie. Did y'all catch it? Run it back.
but he heavily insinuated that, like, basically I had a big butt, so I would get attention in college. And
Prealy things. You don't got no butt. Young lady, this you at 25, not a curve in sight. So cut it out.
like to me, this was just like a source of validation that I never really got, like from like anywhere outside of high school. Um, and there's just small things like that where I would tell him about like parties like that I went to, or Like nothing big, but like, just stuff like you really should not be talking about like underage drinking with an adult as minor. Like that's inappropriate. But there's a lot of like other stuff too that he just helped me with. So it wasn't like that was all we were talking about, but that there's just like moments that are kind of weird in hindsight once you're older and you look back like that was you as a child. Know? Anyways, I like keeping on going with this story. When I turned 18, or I was 17 when I left for college. So the last time I saw him before I left for college, I was 17 because I was kind of young for my grade. So when I turned 18, I went to college and I did well my freshman year, whatever. And the first time I went back to see him when I was 18, because sorry, this might sound weird if you aren't in a sport, but any like former athlete knows the connection you have with like a coach.
No, I was an athlete and I had some cool ass coaches, don't get me wrong, but to go out of my way to visit them? Yeah, that never crossed my mind.
So he wasn't the only coach that I'd go back and see. Like I went back and saw my high school coach. I saw a couple of club coaches. And while I was at it, I went and saw my old trainer that I was really close with that helped me get to where I was. He texted me because I was just going to go see him at the gym. He texted me to go see him at this like bar. But it was like during the day. So you could go eat there too. So I was like, okay, it's not that weird. Like just going to get lunch with an old coach, whatever. I genuinely didn't think anything of it. So it was weird when I got there because he was definitely like drinking and he like sat at the bar. But I was so naive, guys. Like I didn't think anything. And he kept trying to get me to drink because I was like kind of bragging that I had like a fake ID and whatnot. So yeah, so he was like trying to get me to use it, and I wasn't the type to just like drink with adults. Like I would just drink at college. I didn't drink when I was home, so I kept telling him no, I don't want to do that, whatever. And during the dinner or the lunch, he just said things that were kind of weird. Like he would say, like again, making comments about my butt, asking if I had sex at that point, like just stuff that was inappropriate and I thought was kind of weird. But like in my head, it was just because we were like close. Like this was the father like figure. I don't know. It was
All jokes aside, I have comments, but I'm having a hard time defending this guy because even though Pearl is an idiot, and at 18, I believe you should know when a man is trying to fuck, especially if you went to college, because it's a lot of fucking going on in college. And I know the legal age is 18, but if you're in your 30s, I personally don't think you should be flirting with anyone at a bare minimum that's under 21. If I was single, I'm personally not at a bar with any woman under 25 because we're just at two different points in our lives. You probably want to party and drink, and I want to fuck and go to sleep.
Daddy's got an ISIS knee, baby, okay? If you just let me recharge my battery, I promise there'll be more for you later, okay?
really weird in hindsight. I don't know. I was dumb. But anyway, so I said like, okay, I'm gonna go. Great to see you. Whatever. Left. He calls me on my way back and says, hey, like you should just come to the gym really quick. He owned the gym like it was his own place, and I don't. At first, I said no, but he's like, come on, like you should have a shot with me. I don't know. He kept asking me if I wanted to have a shot with him, and in my head, I thought I always felt like special, like cooler than the other girls because he was like the cool trainer.
You know what happens when a woman thinks she's special and later on finds out she's not? Well, she might key your car, try to embarrass you in public. Hell, she might try to get you fired like Pearl did.
At like my club that I went to. So I always felt like I'm the one that he like gives extra attention to, or I'm the one that he, spends more time with. Like I'm the one he believes in, whatever. I always felt like cool. So I genuinely thought it would be cool to like take a shot with, my old trainer and just brag about it to my friends. So when I thought about it like that, I was like, you know what? F it. Like, I'll go take a shot and then I'm going to get going. And
Not to keep pausing it, but you were uncomfortable with this coach who you said you thought of as a dad, even though he was flirting with you, telling you how flat your ass was, because I know he didn't tell you it was fat. But you're uncomfortable at a public bar with him, but now you're gonna go to a private gym with him to drink? And in your mind, you don't think there was any possibility of sex? So you didn't think he was gonna try to make a move because he was married, even though he was already flirting with you? Fuck out of here, Pearl. I don't believe that.
I have to say, by the way, he is, I don't know what his age was, but like I would say late 30s, early 40s. He had a daughter that was my age, which, you know, kind of weird. And he was married too. So that's why a lot of stuff that he did that was weird. Like in my head, people don't cheat, especially when they're married. And at that age, like I genuinely did not think that married men cheated. Like genuinely didn't know. I never heard of anyone cheating. Yeah, I didn't think it was a thing. So I go to the the gym, right? And he's like there sitting down and he's just like making conversation with me, whatever. And we take the shot, whatever. And we talk probably for like half hour, 45 minutes. And he says, you know, like this gym, like we're alone. We could do whatever you want. And I'm like, oh, what do you mean, Marcus? Like what do you, and he's like, what do you think I mean? And I don't know why, like, because there's a bunch of stuff that led up to it, but this was over, I'm 24 now. So this was over 5 years ago. So I genuinely don't remember the entire conversation.
I bet there was some stuff that led up to it. There was some flirting and joking going on at the bar, and probably even before that, when you were younger. If you ask me, this guy's a creep, but I'm pretty sure you knew that before you went to see him.
But like that part of the conversation, literally, I will never forget. And so then I just said, you know what, Marcus? Like, I think I do, but I'm gonna pretend like I don't. I'm gonna get out of here. And then he's like texting me after I leave, like trying to get me to come back and like have sex with him. And obviously, like I left. I was not about that. But I came to find out that he was doing this not just with me, like clearly, but with like a lot of other girls. He would just like plant seeds until we were 18 and try to hook up with the girls once they turned 18. And it's just kind of messed up, you know? And it was like heartbreaking to me because this guy, like, I looked at him as a father figure.
It was also heartbreaking because you thought you were special. You forgot that part.
There were times where I was like closer with him than like with my dad. And nothing against my dad, you know. Me and my dad like got closer after this, and like later on, like now I'm like super close with my dad. But yeah, at that time I really wasn't. So it just kind of changed the way that I viewed the world because one, I didn't know people cheated. I didn't know that was a thing. Two, it made me second guess a lot of like coaches that had given me like attention and help growing up, you know. It made me kind of think maybe a lot of them were creepier than I thought before. And genuinely, like I felt like I'd lost like a friend, which really sucked. And then on top of that, I actually had to go get him fired from my school because he was going to start coaching my younger sisters. He was the track coach at my high school. And I was not about to let him coach my sisters. So I like literally printed the screenshots and I brought it to the school and was like, look, I know I was technically 18 at the time when he did this, but this like isn't right. Like he can't be grooming young girls.
You could have just told your parents and your sister not to work with him. And I'm having a hard time punching holes in Pearl's argument because it comes off like I'm defending this creep. And I'm not. It's a difference between what's morally right versus what's legally right. And I think if she's telling the truth, big if, what he did was morally wrong. But it's hard for me to let you call it grooming when you left for college and came back and hit him up. That man was probably not even thinking about you. And we also know you like them darkies. And I don't even know who Marcus is, but Pearl, it doesn't get no blacker than a nigga named Marcus.
Oh, please, Marcus, please. You ain't going nowhere.
To do that, like that's messed up. So I don't know, that event like actually changed my life. Like I never, and that's when I started to like, I don't want to say hate men, but I started to see it everywhere. Like I would see all these guys like at my school or at, you know, like married guys just like being super flirty with like younger girls. And it just made me, but I mean, it's been long enough. Like I'm cool now, but yeah, that's the story of how one guy made me think poorly of an entire gender for maybe like 2 years. It wasn't that long, but year, 2 years, longer than it should have.
So she stopped hating guys when she was 20, started grifting and making money off men's content at 23.
I'm doing this for money. It's all about money to me.
Shot this video at about 24, and she's 25 now. Interesting. And Sister George called her out months later.
Is here. Want to bring up Sister George. Sister George, you're on the air. Obsidian Radio with Justpearlythings. Go right ahead.
Fair use, fair use.
Fair use.
Obsidian voice.
Hey, how are you?
Doing great, Daniel. How you feeling?
I'm doing good. Hey, Miss Pearly, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I had a couple of questions for you concerning the video you did about hating men. Do you remember that video?
Mm-hmm.
And I was curious, what is your stance on the Me Too movement as of now?
The Me Too movement?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Me Too movement.
What about your accusations? Like when you got the guy fired from his job, do you still feel the same way about that situation?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah, because I had evidence.
I'm guessing she's referring to the screenshots when she was 18.
So if you have evidence,
What evidence was there? Because you said that you were talking to him about showing you were telling him that you weren't getting hit on at school and guys weren't checking for you. And then you said that he told you, well, you know, you're gonna be fine. You have a nice rear, right? So where like you kind of brought that up to him, and then that I'm not gonna say that that was right, but it was a bit sketchy.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. He hit on girls when they turned 18. So he would coach, and I just don't really want. He would coach girls from 14 to 18 and then hit on them the second they turned 18. It wasn't just me, there was multiple women.
Which is morally wrong, but not illegal.
So is it wrong for him to hit on a woman that's 18?
Please, Danielle, please. Mr. Justpearlythings needs a chance to respond to your question. Go ahead.
So personally, I think that's weird. It's not illegal. It's not, you can do what you want. It's a free country, but my sister was coming up and going to be his coach next. Or she was going to be coached by him next. So, I mean, personally,
but
I had evidence. It wasn't just me. There was multiple people. The second that they turned 18, he would hit on them.
Let me jump in here. Let me jump in here.
Can I just finish?
Yeah, you little slave. Let Massa finish.
If you think that's okay, that's your prerogative. I think that's weird.
Hey, let me jump in here for a minute, because what Sister George is referring to is your recounting of a situation. I take this was you was in school at the time, high school.
Yeah, it was right after I graduated.
I was going, okay. So you have an athletic coach who is getting a little too particular with the students in his charge, okay? Which in itself, in my opinion, is inappropriate, in my opinion. I don't think it's appropriate for somebody that is in a position of authority and power over young people at that to act in that way. I don't think that's appropriate, in my opinion. I'm not a coach. I never have been a coach. I probably will never be an athletic coach, but just on the outside looking in, that looks inappropriate to me.
Yeah, morally it looks inappropriate, but at what age does it become appropriate? 18, 21, 25? Is he flirting with these underage students or waiting for them to leave school, turn 18, and then they're hitting him up? Or he's hitting them up, I don't know.
Definitely. I agree with that. It is inappropriate.
And again, if I didn't have the evidence, he would not have gotten fired. They don't just fire people for no reason.
But what type of evidence did you have? Because, and then, you know, because there was a couple of things, and I know it was a quick video and there were certain details that were left out, but you know, it just looked super sketchy because he hit on you guys after you turned 18. Now, I'm not saying that that's appropriate, but it's definitely not illegal. And you said that you actually hated men when you're in a space that actually are advocates for young women. You yourself have been an advocate for young women, right?
I wish you would have answered what evidence she had, because when she told the story, it sounded like she only had screenshots of their conversation, and she was 18 at the time. That was enough to get him fired, but it wasn't a bunch of girls coming out saying this coach is a creep. It was just her and some screenshots, and people get fired all the time. You don't need a legit reason to fire someone unless they're in a union. But the principal might not have wanted this to get out and cause a scene, so it was easier to just fire him and move on. Let's fast forward.
If you're talking about a man that is hitting on an 18-year-old and she didn't really make a complaint initially, but it seemed like she made the complaint after she deemed that she wasn't special. And I was just kind of curious about it.
Oh no, I had immediate complaints. Immediate.
But you went to drink with him at a bar. Were you scared? You didn't. It was like you were creeped out. When you told the story, you seemed very creeped out, but you didn't seem like you still went along with things. And I was so curious about that.
I mean, the second that I realized what he was doing, I left. So,
but you then went to the gym with him, right?
What are you talking about?
You know what she's talking about.
You said that you went to the gym. He owns a gym. You said that you went to the gym with him, right?
Yeah, because I didn't realize he was trying to like look at.
Oh, okay, right. So I'm trying to understand: is the gym before the bar, or is the other way around?
It's after the bar.
This is afterward or before it?
It was after the bar.
After the bar.
Yeah, I went to the gym. He was a coach.
She wanted to go brag and have like she wanted to go brag to her friends that she had a drink with her coach, right,
Okay.
Pearly?
Okay. Had a drink, okay.
Yeah, I had a drink with him. I didn't want to sleep with him.
Well, I was about to say, yeah, I'm trying to understand where you're going.
It just seemed like it was.
I mean, if you give an 18-year-old free alcohol, most of the time they're gonna take it.
I thought you said you didn't drink with adults. Here's what I think. First of all, I don't trust this story. I don't trust Pearl, period, because she lies a lot. Let's be honest, y'all. Pearl might have gave him some pussy. Come on now. We're all adults. Let's just keep it a buck. This guy was an ex-NFL player in his 30s, maybe 40s, so he still looked young. He was probably still in good shape and a decent-looking guy. Pause. But I say that because he was popular with the other younger girls. Listen, when I was in high school, we had a male teacher like that. The girls always used to flirt with him, and he ignored them because he wasn't a fucking creep like this guy. So, when Pearl said he was someone you could brag about to your friends if you had a drink with him, let's be honest, you're not bragging about drinking with an old-ass coach because no one's gonna care. And let's keep it a buck again. Pearl used to be, and probably still is, fast in the pants.
The amount of you trying to gaslight me into this theory is not okay. Okay, I've known her for 22 years. I would have picked up on something along those lines, and I never did. I know for a fact she likes men. I promise you that. Now, when I got married in 2021, she was in a very toxic, nutso, I don't even have words for what type of relationship she was in. They might have been on a break at that point. I don't know. There were so many.
And it makes sense. Dad was never home, so she went looking for love in all the wrong places. Right, Flacco?
Now, she says Pearl really likes men. So I would imagine Pearl was out here to throw that coochie up. Now, I do want her to kind of address the Pearl body count thing, because Pearl says she has body count that's in single digits, that's on less than one hand. I strongly doubt that, bro. Because if you see old pictures of Pearl, she was a model woman. If you ever seen a modern woman, right? That's a modern woman. You feel me? I'm talking about skin tight leather pants, crop top. She was out here in these streets, boy.
See, I didn't call her a hoe. Flacco did. Anyways, I believe she probably gave him some ass. This happened right after freshman year, which is usually the wildest year for a woman in college, because they're finally away from home and they're trying to do a lot of grown-up stuff like, I don't know, take a lot of dicks, fuck a bunch of upperclassmen. Honestly, smashing a coach while you're in college is like a girl sleeping with a professor. It's not morally right, but it happens.
You know, I like waking up like this. With you.
This was a one-time deal. You know that, right? I have too much to lose.
And that's my guess of what happened. And life probably would have went on, but Pearl's a Karen. I remember watching an old video of her explaining how she called the cops on a house party for them playing loud music. What college student does that? So I believe when she found out that the same coach who gave her that long dick was gonna be coaching her sister, she freaked out and told on him, getting him fired. So I don't believe Pearl, and here's why.
I just think if you're gonna come on a podcast and say that you were abused, like I hope you have a police report to back it up, because otherwise that's defamation of character.
Your words, not mine. Let's continue.
No, not really,
I'm not
because
saying, like,
according to you, you didn't want to take the alcohol, right?
Here's the thing. You're right. I shouldn't have been in that situation. I shouldn't have. But as soon as it got to the point where I knew what he was doing, I left.
He was absolutely wrong, but there were still things that happened on your end that
You're right. I put myself in a situation I shouldn't have been in. You're absolutely right. Like
All right, so
should
we
not have
both
put myself
agree
in
on that point. Let me ask you something else, Daniel. Since I got you here, you and Concrete Rose had a very pointed show the other night, recently.
This is why people think you Cape Obsidian. Pearl was getting pressed on false Me Too allegations, and you switched the subject. Sister George should have said, respectfully, can we not switch the subject? Because Obsidian definitely successfully did that. But Miss Sexy Red TV kept pressing.
Regarding that Why I Hate Men video, it's not about race. It's that you're in a space pandering to men and you got a man fired from his job because you felt after you came back from college that he was trying to groom and plant seeds, is what you said. So you knew before you left for college that he was planting seeds. So why didn't you do anything then?
Because he didn't try to. I didn't know before I left for college. There was stuff that, like, in hindsight was weird, but I didn't really think about.
What's weird? Because you say weird, but define weird.
Hang on, hold on a second. Miss Sexy Red, please. She has to have a chance to respond. Go ahead,
But I think the main thing, the reason I got him fired was because he tried to sleep with me. So when that happened, and then I found out that he was going to be coaching my sister, that is the main thing.
You see, she lies so much, you don't know what to believe. Because I would have thought the main reason was because he did this to her and other girls as well. And why didn't they report it? If there were other women, sounds like you led the march to get him fired. The girl who likes black men, who flirts with black men, who fucks black men.
I've dated mostly black guys.
See, your boy is on 10 with it. See, is there a reason for that? Have you delved into that reasoning?
The reasoning? I don't know. I think part of it is like, I feel like black guys are usually more extroverted.
It's hard for me to imagine him flirting with a bunch of underage white girls and this not being reported.
Okay, when you got back home and you got to the original bar or the restaurant, that was the first place that you went to. Okay, then when you left, you said he kept calling you. So then you finally met him at the gym, and
which usually had people there.
Don't cut me off. Okay.
Hang on a
You're
second.
cutting me off.
Hang on a second. We're going to. Okay, look, we're going to have a civil conversation here. Okay, this is a very contentious topic, very sensitive topic. Me Too, etc. We're going to have a conversation here. I'm going to open back up your line, Miss Sexy Red. I'm going to give you a chance to lay out your position, and then Miss Just Pearly Things is going to respond, okay? Here we go. All right, go ahead, Miss Sexy Red. You have the floor.
Yes, so you went to the bar, you left, he contacted you. You said you felt uncomfortable after you left the bar the first time. You had an underage, you had a fake ID. You said that he kept trying to get you to use it. You said you no longer felt comfortable. You left. Okay. Then he called you to go and meet him at his gym. And then you said nobody was there. And you were taking shots together about 30, 45 minutes later. Don't cut me off. 30, 45 minutes later, you said that he propositioned you for sex. And then you said you were not about that. And then you left. Okay, so you had an underage ID. You already had that. Why did you inform him that you had that ID?
That's not the right question. The right question is, if he made you feel uncomfortable at a public bar, why did you agree to meet up with him later for a shot at a private gym that he owned? And he's not still coaching you, so you never have to see him again if you didn't want to.
If you felt uncomfortable in the first place.
Miss Just Pearly Things, go ahead.
Oh, I was proud of the ID at the time. I thought I was like kind of cool for having it. I was 18. So I like, to be fair, I told a lot of people about that ID.
Right. You know what's interesting about this? You know what's interesting about this? And I want to get Sexy Red's opinion about this. When Kevin, I don't know if you remember this, Just Pearly Things. Kevin would have conversations with black women, and he would ask them about their dating and mating history, and they would frequently say, "I was young." I don't know if you remember that or not.
Kevin would ask that, and when women would say they're young, he didn't accept that answer. So why should we accept Pearl being young as an excuse for possibly making false Me Too allegations? Because like I said before, if her only evidence was screenshots of him trying to sleep with her when she was in college, it's honestly not the high school her coach works for business, especially since she doesn't go to that school anymore, and she's legally an adult. So either the high school covered up multiple allegations about this black coach messing with little white girls, or Pearl was the first allegation.
Okay, but she came from a 2-parent household. So why didn't you tell your parents that he was making you feel that these weird conversations that you were having? Because you trusted him with certain things, like parties that you went to. You felt insecure about, you talked about your body with him. Why did you felt it was okay to talk to him about that, but not your parents?
Because I wasn't going to snitch to my parents if I was going to a party.
Why didn't you tell your parents he made you feel uncomfortable? And I know for a fact that she didn't even tell the principal until after she found out her sister was going to be coached by him. So she didn't go run and tell him right after this situation happened.
You serious?
So once you found, once you found out you weren't special and you told your friends that you finally, you had a drink with your coach and everything, you found out that you weren't special. And that's when you decided to go and file the paperwork to get him fired. That's how it. Let me finish, please. That's how it comes across. So you go ahead.
When I found out that he was doing the same thing to multiple women, yes, I got him fired.
Why didn't these other girls report him as well? And you notice Obsidian just dropped the young lady from the panel. I guess the questions got too hot for his comfort. And Pearl agreed. She found out that she wasn't special. That's the only reason she told on him and got him fired. The only question is, were all these ladies over 18 when he started flirting with them? My guess is, if he waited till Pearl turned 18 to try to smash, he probably waited for the others as well.
When I found out he was trying to sleep with multiple girls. The other thing is, I question about saying this.
I'm just curious about where's all this rigorous line of questioning for black women that got multiple baby daddies?
Did y'all hear we're about to go into a recession?
Where's all this rigorous line of questioning for black women that got multiple baby daddies?
New York's air quality was terrible these past few days. What's your thoughts on climate change?
Where's all this rigorous line of questioning for black women that got multiple baby daddies?
I'm hoping Jimmy Butler and Miami Heat win the NBA Finals.
Where's all this rigorous line of questioning for black women that got multiple baby daddies?
Seriously, who watches Obsidian? That's his response to everything. Well, what about the black woman? Listen, we can talk about the black woman later, but right now, We talking about this racist snow bunny. Listen, I could be wrong, so yeah. Allegedly. But seriously, maybe this really did happen to Pearl. Maybe she didn't sleep with him. But her credibility is shot because she lies a lot. And I personally don't think we should believe all women. Yes, listen to all women and believe all proof. Charlemagne the God. But at the same time, I genuinely believe that 80% of people are honest. Like, if you tell me something happened to you, I'm naturally gonna want to believe you. But once I've caught you in a lie, you're a liar.
Forever.
And I bet her old best friend might tell the truth about what really happened. Who knows? I ain't going digging. I'm out.